It's Versus. I'm John Maher. That's Will Cohen. Hey, maybe some fireworks today. I don't know. But Will, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay. It was just a very very busy weekend. So tried to find time to relax and sat down thinking at some point that these films have got to like swing upwards. And while this was a far cry from the last film we saw, I don't feel like this achieved anything of what it was trying to do.
This is a Hayride from 2012, I believe. It's pretty straightforward. Like I'm shocked. ITN Distribution did this because I'll tell you what this movie doesn't have. This movie doesn't have like a wacky CGI monster or CGI animals. Are there some actors that like are clearly just like giving acting a shot? Yes, there's definitely people who are just giving acting a shot. But Richard Tyson's in this, and he brings some credibility to the movie. And as far as straightforward like B-level slashers go, I put this on par with a lot of the movies I have seen throughout my career of watching horror movies. Like back when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, like you turn on Cinemax at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they'd put on movies like, The Pumpkin Carver and movies like that. And this is just as good as those movies, which is just to say it is not good, but it is as close to good as we can get and still call it bad. That's my opinion.
I don't know about that, John. Like we've been doing this for a long time. We're almost, we're almost approaching our 100th episode. Like we're very steadily approaching the 100th episode.
We might have passed that, but okay.
Was that?
We might have passed that. I haven't been keeping track. We're probably past it. You do. I'm gonna look that up.
I'm going by like the amount of things that that I personally have logged. And I've only logged like 70 something films. So like as together we're approaching, in this new format, 100 episodes. I feel like we have seen worse. I will give you that. We have definitely seen worse. But when it comes to like standard slashers, we've definitely seen better than this, where where they understand exactly where the plot is. They exactly know where, how to at least make a competent slasher film and make some minor stumbles. This one, to me, stumbled far more than it really should have. And I'm actually kind of scared that they actually made a sequel to this. I don't know how that's going to turn out. But
I have no hope for the sequel. By the way, well, this is right here. This is episode 120.
Interesting. Okay.
Of the new incarnation of Versus. Sorry, we can't keep milestones. We have to concentrate on what we're doing. I'm sorry. If you're keeping track at home, God bless you. But like I stopped counting a long time ago. I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to get to the sequel thing at the end, because actually the twist and the sequel that they're begging is kind of the plot hole that keeps this movie from being good, I would say. But let's get into the movie itself. So the movie's called Hayride. It's straightforward, and I've seen other horror movies do this. Like Hellfest did this, Houses October Built did this. Like the setting of the movie is the main character Steven, he's with his girlfriend Amanda. They go to visit his uncle Morgan, who runs a haunted hayride.
So what you got going on over at the barn?
Oh, just something a little new this year.
I mean, is it part of the ride?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Now it's in the middle of Alabama. It's the only thing the town's got going for it, right? However, these places are always a good setting for horror movies because people are going there to be scared. So if actual horror starts happening, you can't really discern it until it's too late. That you're actually in danger. And is this the best example of that I've ever seen? No, it's not. But it's always it's an easy jumping off point to have a slasher horror movie.
So like, I definitely love one of the things I loved about this film is I definitely loved the premise. I loved the
I loved the idea of this haunted hayride and how things could potentially go awry with that.
Man, you can't do me like that. Killer mask, man. Hey!
Like I did find that premise entertaining. And it got me hopeful. But again, like the cold open. Again, this is something that ITN does a lot, and I was really hopeful by the fact that you didn't see the ITN logo at the beginning, that maybe, just maybe, we might have gotten something like divorced of their typical formula. But no, we have this cold open that seemingly has nothing to do with the rest of the film.
38-year-old Malcolm Guffin was arrested this morning in connection with over a dozen missing person cases.
They have this really interesting cold open, and then they shift the focus to something completely different for the majority of the film.
The cold open is the fact that there is a
serial killer.
A serial killer. I was going to say like a homicidal maniac. He becomes a serial killer. Maybe he is a serial killer. I don't know. And he escapes. They do the old Halloween gambit where the police car overturns and he escapes custody. And the car crashes right near the area where this haunted hayride is, and Uncle Morgan has built decades of history at this hayride, creating characters, and the characters are maybe based on local legends. And one of them is the legend of Pitchfork, who is a farmer that one day, I guess he was trying to protect the virtue of his daughter. He fails, and then he goes on a homicidal rampage.
Becomes a legend. Especially in a small town like this, people talk, people add to the story, they glorify the details, whatever.
And he was never caught. And every once in a while, when the moon is full, Pitchfork will come and kill people in Alabama.
And she became his first, but not last victim.
And that's I'll get into my big problem with the movie there, but that's it. So he has created this character that is based on local legend, but it is also a character that appears in the hayride. However, we're led to believe this serial killer has found the costume, and now he is just traipsing around the hayride as a real Pitchfork. Killing employees and fun goers alike.
Right. And so this is where I started falling off the film almost immediately, because they have it felt like they have these dueling storylines that should have meshed. You have this guy telling about the local legend, and you have this, but then you also have this hayride where, honestly, I would love if this hayride actually existed in real life, because this seems like a lot of fun where you have a plant, for instance, at one point you have a plant, one of the employees sitting on the hayride with you, and then the killers, the actors, will pull this person off of the hayride.
Somebody help me!
And pretend to graphically murder them in front of the hayride. That is that's solid entertainment.
Yeah. And the truck pretends to break down and they're get chased by something else. They have all the good components of a hayride. And they even built a haunted house this year. But I think the other part of the storyline that is good criticism. There is another storyline that never meshes, because this killer has escaped custody and there is a manhunt going on.
Right.
And the funny thing is, like, all these people that don't live at the Hayride, but they live in the town, no one seems to know that there's this homicidal maniac on the loose, and that there's like a all points bulletin to capture this guy, and like tons of cops. But they never make it to the Hayride, which takes up hundreds of acres in this county. That's a second plot. That's a second plot hole. Yes, besides the big major plot hole, which I'll get to.
Yes, and so like our homicidal maniac, serial killer, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he starts interacting with, he starts, picking off the actors.
Morgan, is that you?
There's so many of these things, like there's so many moving pieces to this, where when you have a slasher like this, simple is always better.
I would disagree. I think it actually is kind of simple. It's maybe too simple because like the guy is just killing everybody. There's similar scenes in a bunch of other horror movies that are more well known. He does jump from person to person. It makes sense that because they even like reference it, like when they keep having their group meetings, Morgan's like, where the fuck did this guy go?
Right.
Never mind. Now you're this person. Get back out there. Because they're so busy running the only show in town. Like they just figure people are fucking off. So at least they more, I'll say that for other ITN movies we've covered, they at least took time to acknowledge it.
That's fair. Again, while they managed to not commit certain sins, I feel like they were still committing others. And it was still driving me nuts when it's like they could have, if they were going to have the amount of time that it took to fix these certain crimes, why couldn't they just fix all of them? They had a 90-minute movie. They could have easily fixed all of the mistakes and been fine, but they chose not to do that.
And I will now talk about the greatest mistake, because this movie, I mean, the twist of this movie actually is pretty clever, but the twist makes it so the movie doesn't make any sense. So, yes, this homicidal maniac does escape custody. However, he runs afoul of the real Pitchfork. Who kills him. And so you think the whole movie that it is a serial killer killing everybody, but it's actually Pitchfork, which begs the question, this guy wasn't killing anybody for like the last 30 years? Like, right. If he's been alive this whole time, that whole county should be dead. Like, because this guy, he's not like a Michael Myers unstoppable killing machine. He is a man, but he's definitely very good at killing people. And absolutely. And apparently he lives next to this Hayride. So why hasn't he been killing people at the Hayride every year, especially when they are using his likeness to scare people? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right, exactly. And that's another reason that this film just drove me up the fucking wall. It's like if you're gonna have like the real guy show up, like if you're gonna make this make any kind of sense, have him show up a good like 10-20 minutes earlier and have him explain why he's now coming out of retirement at the very least. It's like they could have just the fact that this guy stumbled upon him and that started it up. They could have explained that, but they didn't even do that. Right. So it's meaningless sequel bait.
And of course, like they impale him. But he survives.
Right.
So we'll have a part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it. We can rate this movie. Well, you can go first.
Yeah, like for a 90-minute film where they clearly put the time and effort into actually crafting a really reasonable story. The fact that the writing made things convoluted at points and oversimplified other things, the fact that they have like all these like random plot points, all these like errant storylines going on when everything could have just been so much more tight and streamlined. They put a mess when it didn't need to be one, so I give them 1.5.
And I think this discussion has brought me around on it. Like I do think this is one of the better films we've seen. I'll say that. But there are two major plot points in it. And then also one thing I didn't mention that I didn't like is like there's towards the end when the final girl and her boyfriend, Steven and Amanda, like make it to the end. Their dialogue, having just gone through like trauma, is fucking like insane. It's not the way two people would talk to each other.
No.
So Will, I'm gonna shave a half star. If I had it at 2.5, I'm gonna bring it down to 2, because like it's actually really cringeworthy, and I will add that clip here.
Even after all of this, that's still terrifying.
But that'll do it for this week of Versus. We've already spoiled next week. There is a sequel. Hayride 2 will be next week because Pitchfork survives, even though like he's an old dude that got fucked up. He's survived. We'll see what happens. If you made this far in the video, go.
Yeah. We don't even know if he's the star of the show. Like for all we know, he could like get like just like fucking like die in the hospital, like from his wounds within like the first like minutes of the cold open. We don't know what's gonna happen.
That sounds like a better movie than they're gonna give us. I guarantee it. But if you made this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Go to the Facebook group at Why We Love Horror. Check out our Letterboxd challenge there. And you can also find the list of all the stuff we're watching on my Letterboxd at JWMaher. All the stuff we will be watching on Versus throughout the year there. Until next time, though, I am JWMaher, and that's Will Cohen. This has been Versus. We're still here. We'll see you next week.